Yeah, something else I've been thinking about talking about was, because that's really what this, just like these videos are, is conversations and thoughts that I have really in my head, like that I think are just relevant to like the culture we're living in. You know what I mean? And something I've really been thinking about lately too is just like isolation has become like a flex, like to be isolated, like to not feel like you need anybody or to feel like you could just do everything alone is like a flex, you know? And I don't know, man. I think that's, that mindset is increasingly growing, and it's really just a toxic mindset because it's good to feel like you don't need everybody, you don't need anybody for anything, I guess, in some ways, but I think it's now like surpassing like the healthy context of it, and it's now bleeding into every aspect of life. Like it's making people shell up. Like people don't want to talk about things anymore. Like I don't know if it's disappointment or whatever is going on. I don't know if it's just the culture in which we live in, and like people just like want to be alone. Like, and I'm guilty of this too, you know what I mean, where I'm like, man, I don't even, it's all good. Like I remember I deleted my social media, like my Instagram, a while ago, like because I'm just like, this is like crazy. I'm connected to a bunch of people that I really don't talk to, you know what I mean, and I kind of felt like that was weird, like, and I do still believe that is very weird, like to be connected with so many people but have very minimal relationships with them. And I would say minimal to insignificant relationships with them. And I think people will say like, oh, well, it's good because you never know if you want to network with them and this and that. And I don't know, after a certain point, like I just think like you don't need to dip into everyone's life. Like I think there was like a level of privacy that we used to have, that we don't really have anymore. Like I could say this, my family used to do, this is just an example, my family used to do like family reunions like a lot. You know what I mean? Like we used to do these like big family reunions, whatever, like family parties. It would just be like holidays and things like that. And like I start to slowly see it diminish. Like as the years went on, it just slowly became like non-existent. You know what I mean? Like maybe more so my immediate family, but I'm talking about like my extended family. And I really feel like that's due to like people having you on social media, or like people having this crazy access to what they think is your life. So it kind of makes you feel like you don't have to call them, or you don't have to meet with them in person. Like you feel like you have all the information that you need to know already. It gives you like a false sense of relationships. And like what people I think are finding out is that it's leaving them pretty empty, like they're not real relationships. You know what I'm saying? I think if you don't, and I remember like this was probably 4 years ago when I started just leaving group chats, and I think people just probably didn't understand why I was leaving group chats, but I used to be mixed up with a lot of people, you know what I mean? Just a lot of different people, maybe from football, from going to like 4 different schools in college or whatever it may be. Like I usually mix up with people just in general, right? And like people really use the word brother, you know what I'm saying? Like you're my brother, like, and I think they just misuse it. Like I felt like they were mishandling that word, because in my head it's like your brothers are really your brothers, and I think like they're there for hard times, they're there for everything. Like I think, I'm not saying you got to see them every day. I'm saying if you guys have you're like-minded, like let's say, for example, in my last video I was talking about like, like starting businesses and doing things like that, right? Like if you feel like that and you have these conversations with your friends and you consistently have them, like, and you're not acting on it, I find that insane, right? Like insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Like if you tell me you're unhappy doing something multiple times and you don't change it, yeah, I think that's insane. Like I just think that's crazy. And I'm not saying it's easy to do that because people have jobs and stuff like that. Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying like that's what your brothers are for. Like let's do something, let's figure something out, like actually, you know what I mean? Like let's actually meet up, let's actually do it. Let's not just talk about it, because I think they're pipe dreams if you just talk about it, and like they don't, like people just like, it's like they just like, I don't know, like they're not doers, you know what I mean? So remember like 4 years ago I started leaving my group chats, And I think people just thought I was just like mad for some reason, or like I ain't like him anymore. But I kept saying, I was like, yo, let's not talk in group chats like every day. Like, I just don't want to do that. Like, let's meet up. Like, whether it's, I don't care if it's one time a week, like, let's meet up. Like, let's plan. Let's, like, there's a bigger picture here, right? Like, and I guess, like, since I've been younger, I've always been like a big dreamer. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like let's do things. Like, let's keep elevating our lives. Like, let's just not fall into a stagnation, or just fall into just whatever, complacency. You know what I mean? So I started leaving my group chats because I felt more and more and more distant from them. You know what I mean? Like, and you could say that's isolating, but I think I was trying to prove a point with that, because I really feel like it's isolation when you don't meet people in person. Like, it becomes, you know, we're working, and then on the weekends, like, or just anything, like, I don't find an excuse for it. Like, I get it, like, life is kind of crazy, but I think that goes back into, does your job or whatever you're doing, does it fuel you or does it take away from you? You know what I mean? Like, and like I say, we have certain amount of time to spend time with our family, spend time with our friends, build things, like, you know what I mean? And like really have a contribution to each other's lives. And it's like, I think people just kind of take it as like, it's just not serious to them. And then I'm finding that just more people that I talk to are just getting more depressed. And then we use the excuse that it's just becoming an adult, but it's not true. Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe it's the truth that life becomes more depressing as you get older. I do not believe that. I don't subscribe to that thought process. I won't accept it, you know, and like I feel like I won't accept like a mindset of mediocrity and just being upset and sad. Like, I've gone through my fair share of mental obstacles, and my main thing has been, what do I have to do to get past it? Or what do I have to do to make myself feel better? What do I have to do to bring like life back into me again, you know? And I don't know, sometimes I'm like, am I supposed to envy these people for being so okay with it? Like, but it's just becoming like a collective environment. Like, it's literally becoming a collective environment. I just feel like we're on like a hamster wheel, you know? Like, people are anxious and stuff like that, and it's like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna isolate. And then, you know what I'm saying, you go on Instagram, and then you see like people supporting that mentality, like, you don't need anyone, you know, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yo, this is just getting bad, you know what I mean? And not only that, like, we're addicted to it. So it's like, we're feeding our subconscious with this information every day. And I think if you see through all the bluff that's in a lot of these people, these like social media people, celebrities and all this stuff, like, all they do is just tell you it's all negativity. Like, it's crazy. And they know everyone's watching. You know what I mean? Like, they know everyone's watching, and they know that most people are not living like them. So they'll give us this advice, but it's not applicable to our lives. Like, it's like, I don't know. It just feels kind of crazy how things are going. It's just like self-isolation. It's just like, it's nuts to me. Like, and I feel like just like within my sphere of people that are around me, I'm just seeing it become very, very normalized. And I'm like, yo, what happened to people like going in the homie's crib, knocking on the door, bro? And it's just like, it's normal, like, you know. And there's like this thing on like these videos on Instagram, and they're like nostalgia videos, and it's like, that's how I know like people are not okay with what is going on. There's these nostalgia videos that'll like have this nostalgic tone, right? Like this melody in the background, and then just show you things from like the 1990s up until like 2005, maybe 10, and how beautiful it was, right? And it's true, and I'm not gonna lie, things were beautiful. I think about it sometimes, like, oh, maybe that's just because we're getting older but again, I'm not willing to accept the fact that you're not supposed to get sadder when you get older. So it's like, there's all these videos floating around. It's like, it just brings more support to the fact that it's like, people want to be connected to something and feel a sense of peace and security, like, you know what I mean? Or like they have people around them and like things are normal. But it's like crazy. And I think what's happening now is like, since we're not getting that, we're just resorting to the complete opposite side of the spectrum, which is just like isolation. Like, yeah, I don't need anyone anyway. Like, it's like, all right, man, like, this is just kind of crazy. And it's like sad, bro, because like I said, like, life is to be lived. And, you know, I don't even know what to do. Like, I've had thoughts, even, right? Like, I'm like, do we go to another country? Like, do I go to another country for a while? Like, is it American culture? Like, I really look into this stuff. Like, is it American culture? Like, is it the hustle and bustle culture? Like, what is contributing to this? Is it because people can't pay their bills? I don't really know. I don't know what it is. Like, I know there's even people that it's not like they have bills like that, but they're still severely depressed or anxious, and they don't know why. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they really don't know why. And all I can say is, like, what I'm saying now, but at the same time, like, get off Instagram, right? But it's like they're addicted. And it's like, you ask yourself, is this by design? Like, is it supposed to be this way? Like, I just don't understand. It's not like, and it's most, I feel like if you don't have, let's say, like, self-aware older people around you, or like people who observe and analyze things and look at things, look at society, look how things are changing around you. Like, if your parents aren't like that, if your uncles aren't like that, if you don't have an older person around you to ease your mind, it's like, it just feels like it gets rougher and rough. It's like, you feel like you're alone in that mindset, or you feel like, okay, cool, I'm supposed to feel depressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, my mom is depressed, my dad is depressed, my aunt is depressed, my uncle's depressed. Like, so I'm just going to accept it too. And it's like, nah, man, like, we got to do things. We got to get out here. We got to make plans. We got to make our lives better. This is not, I'm not settling for this. I'm not settling for this. Like, there's a way to bring life back into people. Like, I just, you know, I don't think right now it's really what it is. The most life I see people is when they're at the bar. Like, it's crazy. Like, I really, like, I'm like, all right, cool, let me go to the bar, get a beer. You know what I mean? I have some great conversations with people at the bar. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've gotten business from people at the bar. I get it, like, you know, but it just seems like just drown yourself, drown yourself, numb yourself. And that's the most lively I see people. And then I see him and I'm like, dang, man, like, this is sad. And I just think people are getting crazy, you know, more crazy, and relationships are getting more nuts. Like, romantic relationships, people are, like, not mentally healthy. So I just think if we're breeding an environment of non-healthy people, our relationships are not going to be healthy. Friendships are not really going to be healthy. We're going to feel like we don't need our friends. We're not going to feel like we don't really need our partners and stuff like that. Like, and then there's a bunch of porn on Instagram now, and it's like, holy, it's like, yeah, that's like the icing on the cake. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, man, like, Instagram is not even kid friendly anymore. Like, I came up when Instagram was literally the camera, but like the white one with the brown. And it was like people just posting their food. You know what I mean? Or like a little selfie. And it was like wholesome. You know what I mean? It was like wholesome, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it was just a thought, you know, but yeah, we gotta stop the isolation culture. It's not cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta make moves, be together, you know what I mean? Like, love each other, and you know what I mean? And that's what's important in life. So yeah, man, that's another video. I'll be back on with another thought. I don't know what I'm gonna do the next one on, but it'll come to me. You know, I'm gonna let them naturally come to me. I'm just gonna start talking. If you can relate, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're for. So have a good one. Take it easy. Talk to you guys soon.